learn how to navigate through almost a split personality, the split personality being between my head and my heart. And so living on autopilot in survival mode has not been where I want to be for the rest of my life. It's exhausting, it's tiring, it's a place that I've chosen to come out from, because no sane person can live from their heart and their head at the same time in survival mode. You're always going to overthink. You're always going to be in a space that's not authentic when you're living from your head, because feelings change so much. You can almost come across like you're schizophrenic if you're not careful, right? And so what I've done is sitting down, I said, for the next 20 years, I cannot do what I just did for the past 20 years. And so I was like, I don't want to. I was like, I don't want the same kind, and this is not to say that the marriage was good, the marriage was bad. It's not about the marriage, it's about the people in it, right? And so I'm like, from a place of being authentic, of being transparent, and being that open shop window, meaning no pretense. I'm not living from a falsehood place. I'm not living from survival mode. I'm allowing myself to feel actually how I feel in this moment. And so doing that this morning, I had to come to a place, right, where I said, what has to change? That was a question that I had to ask myself. What has to change? And one of the things that popped up was, I have to change how I show up. How do I have to change how I show up? What's the piece of that puzzle that has to be placed down in this 20 that wasn't laid down in the last 20? Being okay with what I need, articulating that, communicating what I need when I need what I need in that moment, right? So I said, okay, I haven't shown up for me the way that I need to show up for me. I need to grieve who I was, that broken little girl, that girl that felt undervalued, unappreciated, misunderstood. That is a thing of the past, because why? I have to now show up for her to let her know it's okay to let go of the betrayals, and it's okay to let go of who she was to become who she is. Okay? So now I am saying, okay, how did I not show up for me? I didn't articulate to you, in all fairness, what I needed at different points in our marriage. How do I change that? I changed that by saying to myself, I am so sorry that I did not give you what you needed to move on in a productive way, not a counterproductive way, because there are some things that I let go of just for the sake of moving on. But what I realized is that I didn't move on. I didn't move on. I allowed myself to become stuck. And so over the past 6 months, I've been coming out of the stuck places in my life, whether it was in my marriage, whether it was in a job, whether it was at a church. I was stuck. And the thing about being stuck is that you can become stuck and not even know that you're stuck because you're on autopilot, right? And so I'm like, okay, no, this is not what we're going to do. So all of the places I gave myself permission to come out of being stuck, and all of the places where I was standing still, almost like in quicksand or cement. All of them do not give you the ability to move forward is the problem. Where am I not moving forward in my life? And so I started to assess things. And for me, it's like I started with the places that I was okay with starting with. So some of the places were small, some of them were big. I made some big adjustments in the job that I had. The job undervalued me, it underpaid me. I had to move from that place. So I moved. Scared, afraid. I asked for what I wanted, and boom, could you believe I got what I needed? I started valuing myself. I took my life into my own hands, and I started to make the necessary movements, even afraid. I said, I don't want to be at this job anymore. It's toxic. It is not valuing me, and it's not helping me to move forward, even in my process, in the way that I think. It's not helping me. So check, I moved the job, so on and so forth. So now here we are with this vow renewal, and another place of where I need to address me and how I handle myself in marriage, right? And so I realized that because I haven't been authentically who I am, there are some places that I have to even step back with and deal with. So this morning I said, okay, I gave myself permission to feel how I was feeling, right? And I sat and I literally sobbed like a baby. I sobbed because I didn't give myself permission prior to today. Like little bit by little bit, I've done it in different ways, but never said, you know what? I'm grieving who I was when I married this man. I'm grieving what I thought the marriage would look like at this point and at different points in our marriage. I'm grieving the man that I thought I married for who the man I am married to. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So that's what I've given myself permission to say goodbye to yesterday, to step wholeheartedly and completely into who I am becoming today. Who I am becoming today chooses to be a healthy, whole, complete woman in order to be able to not just survive her past, but thrive in her future.
Yeah.
Thrive in today. You can't thrive today if you are not okay with grieving the losses for what you thought it should be. But you have to say goodbye. You have to allow yourself that space for whatever reason. Society teaches women that they're going to have this knight in shining armor come and rescue them from having to pay the bills on their own, from having to be alone, from having to whatever, endure the past of what used to be. But in all, she's going to be rescued. What happens when he doesn't show up and rescue you from you? So that's what I decided to grieve today. What society has taught me as a norm, what mama did and what daddy said, and all of the things that have stunted my growth up to this point and caused me to go into survival mode, that has caused me to shrink to fit, that has caused me to digress in progressing into being the person that God called me to be. That caused me to be a phony, that made me think that made me show up in spaces that made it look easy to be who I am. Who I am has not been easy. Who I am, who I've been in the process of becoming did not come without scars and bruises. And I'm okay now with showing the bruises, with showing the scars, because wounds happen in life. As a reminder, if you're smart, you're going to allow them to show up and not be hidden. Because who you are came with the cost, it came with the price. And what we're not gonna do is move forward in showing people that it was easy to become who you are today. That's a lie from the pit of hell. What I endured, what I had to go through, the processes and the things that I had to endure in order to become a place or become this woman today. Oh my God. She had to, she bled. She died in some ways. She was betrayed. She had to be a martyr even to some degrees to understand that martyrism isn't who she wanted to be. So I stand in a different place today, being whole, allowing myself to grieve what I thought life should be, looking through the eyes of my parents and what they modeled, not even so much as what they said and what they modeled. I stood in a place this morning and chose me. I chose healing. I chose to grieve so that I could become who I am, standing in totality of me. So I welcomed and invited others in the Becoming Me process, and just invited others to be authentic, be that open shop window. But as you're being that open shop window, if the heel is knocked off of the sole of the shoe, show that too. You know, if the eyelash was forgotten to put on that day, then don't be phony, show that too. Don't only show people the polished version of you. Show people where, you know, the ages and stages of what it took for you to get here, because it didn't cost you nothing. It wasn't for free, and it's not going to be. That's how people are self-deceived because of that. And so those are part of the processes and you know, the different things that we're walking through in the Becoming Me podcast. Where it's real things that are happening to people, and people need to understand you're not crazy, you're not deranged. Life will knock you off of your saddle, but you have to shake the dust off and you have to try again. You have to try
The
again.
ability to recover and keep moving forward is all that truly matters.